What's going on, Colts Nation? Appreciate you joining me for another video. And before we get into the video, just know that in the description there is a link for Green Gridiron where you can get mini helmets or authentic NFL helmets. Okay, and make sure to use the discount code INDSYN at checkout and use that referral code down in the description so that they know I sent you. Okay, so again, go to the description. Holiday season coming up. Mini helmets, mini helmet accessories, helmet accessories, whatever the case may be. You want it for you, your man cave, a loved one, whatever the case is. Mini helmets and authentic NFL helmets can be found on Green Gridiron. The link in the description. Again, that is code INDSYN for the discount code. I appreciate you stopping by. And now let's get into the video. So just a couple of days ago, we went over the list of free agents for the Colts going into 2025 and the very long list of guys. And this is just, the first real video about, who should we sign back. And the guy that comes up is somebody on the defense and somebody that because of who we drafted, we might not end up keeping around. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what we decide to do. But Dayo Odeyingbo is a guy that looks like he needs to be on this team going forward. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Kwity Paye and why was his fifth-year option picked up, and we're going to pay him the money for a fifth-year option. Like, I don't understand why that move was made, especially when you go out, I guess at the time of picking up that fifth-year option, at least I think fifth-year option comes before draft, right? I think so. So maybe they made that decision, didn't know they were going to be able to get Latu, and that really is what becomes the issue when you really look at it, like the cog of guys that we have at defensive end. And of course, in my opinion, I just think Kwity Paye should have been the odd man out. I don't know why we picked up his fifth-year option. So I think, going forward, Dayo and Latu ideally would be the ends, right? But of course, you have Latu, who, traditionally will play that left end, and that's where Kwity is lining up. So, and of course, Dayo, he can move all around. That's what they try to do with everybody is move him around. Latu has taken some snaps next to DeForest Buckner on the right side of the defensive line. So he's moved around. It's really, I think Kwity really is the only one that doesn't really move around much there on that defensive line. I'm pretty sure he just stays in that Leo spot, right? And it's really hard to see what these guys are really capable of because we're just always rotating. We don't let these guys stay on the field to get more snaps. And let these guys stay on the field to be able to really, start to set up a tackle. You have one guy coming in, goes against the tackle, and then the next rep, somebody comes in, goes against the tackle. Like it's not conducive to getting a guy in a rhythm in a game. And that's a thing that I think is really holding back a lot of these guys on the defense. Just keep them out there, let them go. Their conditioning would be up. Nobody on the team would have to question anything about conditioning because you have guys playing every snap and they know what it takes, right? And then, you have an injury happen. All of a sudden, guys playing a whole game, he's not conditioned to do that. And by the time fourth quarter rolls around, he can't take it. So those are the problems that come with Gus Bradley philosophy on defense, but nonetheless, Dayo been able to perform, right? And when you look at his rookie year, obviously he misses most of the year, does come back, but he's part of a deep rotation there, right? He was buried as a rookie. And then 2022 comes out, has 5 sacks, right? First real year of football. I do believe he ended up missing some time. Don't quote me on that. I think he missed some time in 2022. It was also a down year for everything Colts, and came away with 5 sacks. 2023 though is where he had the most tackles of his career, and he also came away with 8 sacks. And we had a bunch of guys at and around that 8 sack mark last year, and Dayo was one of them. Really started to show what he could be capable of as the year went on. Last year started to become more consistent, and then this year you have him where he already has 17 tackles again, not generally on the field for running downs. So really in there to pass rush. Only has 3 sacks for this season at this point, which is a little down. But again, because of the rotation, his lack of snaps, and also teams generally just getting the ball out quickly seems to be a pattern throughout the NFL, at least against us, right? We play off coverage on a lot of teams, so they just have a game plan for the quick game. So quarterbacks don't typically hold onto the ball for very long against us for most of the game. Usually, if we can get a quarterback to hold on to the ball for 2.5, 3.5 seconds, we're getting a sack or at least chasing them off the spot for sure. And it just typically doesn't happen. So there are different factors that play in to production for the guys on the team. I think we've pretty much hit them all. But as I sit here and I look at the team going forward, and how can we be as good as possible, right? Of course, getting a new defensive coordinator with a new philosophy, right? We've, for the most part, keeping the points down on defense. When you turn the ball over 4 times, a lot easier to give up 30 points. Don't want to go too hard on defense for giving up 30 against the Bills, because I thought for most of that game they played well, and they tried to give the offense some opportunity. But overall, man, when you just look at things in the future, again, hopefully new defensive coordinator, and hopefully a guy that's going to play his best 11 and just let the guys on the defensive line play, right? Those big guys in the middle, there are different times you're going to rotate them out, especially as they're getting older, right? Grover Stewart, as big as he is, right, rotating him out on pass rushing downs, or just keeping in your best 11, right? Hey, like, how many snaps does Cam Hayward take off, right? I don't know the percentage on that, but I bet it's really low, because the Steelers have a really good defense and they play their best 11. If you just play your best 11, you let them get into a rhythm. I think Dayo could be one of those guys, right? You have Dayo, DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, Leatu Latu. If those are our starting four going into 2025, I'd be very happy, right? At what point, right, assuming we get a new GM at in the offseason, what does he do with Kwity Paye? We already picked up the 5th-year option. Do we take on some of that money and just trade him anyways? Do we keep him as a depth piece? Because I just don't know how you continue to start Kwity over Latu and then what it comes down to is pressure rate. Right, even though these teams are throwing the ball quick on us, it comes down to pressure rate. And Latu and Dayo get a lot of pressure. When you think about those two, if you just keep them on the field together, the pressures that they'll generate, the pressure that subsequently you're going to get from either Grover Stewart or DeForest Buckner in the middle as well. You can't double team everybody. And if you do want to double team everybody, it's going to make things easier for our secondary. So, which is the idea. You want one thing helping the other, right? And so I just think there just needs to be an overhaul. Of course, there's more of a conversation to that, right? With everything that's going on, and with coach and things that have been said by players and what's happening in the building, like crazy times to be a Colts fan. Gonna have more content coming about it all, so make sure you subscribe with notifications on, so you continue to get notified anytime we have any more content coming out. Of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video, and as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.